All right, time for another episode of the Sci-Fi Podcast. My name is Joshua Snyder, and this is a science fiction podcast where I talk about science fiction and science fiction-related things. But first, I'm recording this in my car, and I'm in a very busy parking lot in downtown Burbank. And as I was coming into the car to record the podcast, this guy was following me, hoping to take my space. And I shouted at him, "Hey, I'm not leaving." And then he honked at me very, very aggressively. And that's has nothing to do with science fiction, but everything to do with how much I hate the human race. So it's appropriate that of all the books I'm going to talk about today, we're going to go with 1984, because this is a very 1984 thing that would happen, I would say. Actually, it depends. Now, if I was a member of the evil party in 1984, I could have this guy crucified. But I am not a member of that party. I'm not a member of any party. I don't like parties. I am, what am I a member of at most? I think I go to a sushi restaurant and I'm on their frequent dinner card list. That's what I belong to. That's about it. So when the apocalypse happens, I'm going to the sushi place. And hopefully they're going to have a plan, because I don't. All right. So, let's get started. All right, let's jump into this. Let's start with some sci-fi news. So, the original Alien script, so the script to the movie Alien, but like the first draft of it, is going to become a graphic novel. And apparently there are a lot of differences between the original script and what became the first Alien movie. And they're trying, it's almost becoming comical. They're trying so hard to revive this franchise. They're throwing everything at it. I think for the moment it's dead, people. You've got to let it go. Okay? The Queen has been killed. The Hive is dead. It's over. We've got to let this go for a minute. There's too much of this. I mean, how ridiculous? How far are we going to get? Oh, we're making a version of Alien that's based on the second draft from the second movie. What's the difference between that and the final draft? Well, in the second draft of the movie, Ripley was wearing a skirt half the time instead of pants, and we think that's going to really change the philosophy of what the movie is trying to say. And it's revolutionary. It's groundbreaking. Oh, right here, we're going to interview James Cameron on it. Oh, is he directing it? No. Did he help write it? No. He just saw it and he liked it. So we're going to have him mention that, and that's how we're going to sell the movie. And it'll be we will bring this franchise back. I don't think they can. Here's the problem. I think that we've seen the Alien now. We've actually seen the Alien itself in so many movies that it's no longer scary, or at least it's not scary to me. It's become too familiar. So really, the only other thing we can do with it is the alien's got to be. I want to see the movie where the alien's just part of the crew, and the threat is something else. And the alien has a name. It's Steve. The alien's there. He doesn't impregnate people. The aliens have become pacified, and frankly, he's not a bad guy. Helps people move. He can't bleed around other people. He's going to melt their face. Just Steve the alien. Very articulate. He's got two mouths, so you always understand what he's saying. People are a little uncomfortable around him because he was naked, so he started wearing pants. I mean, he's always wet, so the pants always look wet. That doesn't help. But he's nice. He's not he's not a looker, okay? He doesn't do well on the dating front, but he's affable. You have a conversation with him. That's what you have to do with that character. That's all you can do anymore. That's all you can do. The character is no longer scary. We need to let this go and stop making a movie based on the draft where they spelled alien with a Y accidentally, and that now we're redoing the entire thing based off of that. We got to stop that. Okay. Quentin Tarantino now unlikely to direct a Star Trek movie. That's too bad. It'd be fun. It'd be fun to see him direct a Star Trek movie. But only if it was really a legitimate Quentin Tarantino movie, which is 3 hours of talking and perhaps one action sequence at the very end. Like, it needs to be a movie with a protracted scene where Kirk and Spock are talking about, what makes good sushi from bad sushi. And just some kind of Tarantino-esque conversation like that, where the art of sushi is being explained from one person to another person, or of someone's philosophy is being expounded upon. It's the kind of movie where it'll make those episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation where nothing was happening seem much more action-packed. I would like to see that. Maybe we'll make it happen. Hopefully he'll change his mind on that. Hopefully. All right. So we're going to talk about 1984. I got to be honest with you. I got to level with you. I've got to level with you, listeners. I've got to level with you. I don't know if I've ever read this book. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I didn't. I'm pretty sure that one of the teachers at my high school showed me the movie, or they showed us the movie, in lieu of reading the book. Now, I don't know how much... That almost feels like something that would happen in 1984. Almost. But I like, I like that, and that was, that's a good public school move right there. Listen, let's teach them about making sure that they don't allow the government to really subvert all their freedoms, but let's do it timely. Let's do it in a movie. Listen, Richard Burton's in it. So that's good. That's as good as reading it, right? All right. Wikipedia Summary of 1984. Here we go. In the year 1984, civilization has been damaged by war, civil conflict, and revolution. So it's like the real 1984, except it's 1984. Okay, great. Good. Already a good sign when this book... Here's my question as I read over this Wikipedia summary. Is this still science fiction? Is this book... I think we need to move this off the science fiction section and put it, I don't know, maybe in the American history section, frankly. I don't know. It's not feeling very speculative anymore. All right. Airstrip 1, formerly known as Great Britain, is a province of Oceania, one of 3 totalitarian superstates that rule the world. So it's pretty much like Facebook or Monsanto. There we go. Hey, ladies, it's a comedy. It is ruled by the party under the ideology of Ingsoc, a shortening of English socialism, and the mysterious leader Big Brother, who has an intense cult of personality. So it was frankly very hard to read this summary, because the more I read it, the more depressed I got. Like I said, this isn't feeling like science fiction. This is feeling like today. And it's also, I've had this thought before, and I'll bring this up now. Why are political parties called parties? Is party really the right word? I mean, a party is supposed to be a place where a bunch of people get together and they party, and it's fun and it's friendly and that kind of thing. I like that context of a party. Is this a part? I think we should call them what they are. I think they're gangs. They are gangs. They are powerful gangs that kill. That's what I would rather call the party. But then I got to thinking about it, and then I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe the party is a correct name, because whenever I go to a party, I find myself in a situation where I and all the other people around me are lying openly to each other. So in that respect, party is the perfect name for what this is. So I was about to call BS on that, but now I'm back. Okay, let's call it a party. The party stamps out anyone who does not fully conform to their regime, using the thought police and constant surveillance through devices such as telescreens, two-way televisions. Here's what I find hysterical. Now, in this dystopian future, the government has the thought police that's doing this. Now, here's my question. Aren't we doing this to ourselves with Twitter? I feel like Big Brother, if this party, if you will, was watching what America was doing, they were like, wow, that's so much better than what we're doing. They're doing it to themselves. We don't need to do this. Wow, that's way better. We got to figure that out. We got to get us some Twitter. All right. Winston Smith is a member of the middle-class Outer Party, working at the Ministry of Truth, where he rewrites historical records to conform to the state's ever-changing version of history. So he works at the Ministry of Truth. So I think that's a big running gag in this book, is that whatever it's called, it's the opposite. So Ministry of Truth equals Ministry of Lies. Ministry of Love equals Ministry of Hate. You don't want to know what they're drinking at the Ministry of Coke. I'll tell you something. It ain't Coke. Ever-changing version of history. I think this is I'm thinking about it. Here's what fascinates me about history is that it's really not in the past. What all history really is it's a shared agreement of what we think happened in the past. And the more that we disagree, and we can change this at any time. And it's very scary that is what is happening in this world, this rewriting of history, and how rewriting history actually changes the present and destroys the future, really. And that is very scary. Very scary. I don't like this rewriting of history. Although, if we're going to rewrite history, if we're going to be if the government is going to rewrite history, could it also rewrite my personal history? Can you just erase high school for me? Can you just go back and just erase it, destroy all traces of it, rewrite it? You know what? If the government's going to rewrite history, go ahead and rewrite my high school history. Do what you want. Go to town. Whatever you come up with is better than what I put myself through in high school. How about in this? In your version, I don't let myself get depressed for stupid reasons. How about that? Okay. Those who fall out of favor with the party become unpersons, disappearing with all evidence of their existence removed. Sounds kind of nice, I'll be honest. I think the other way to become an unperson, and I'll say this from personal experience, is to not put that much energy into your physical appearance. That's what I do. I desexualize myself, and I've been an unperson now happily, well, not happily, but I've been an unperson now successfully for nigh on 20 years. Winston revises past edition of the Times, while the original documents are destroyed by fire in a memory hole. Memory hole. That's not a good name. That is not a good name. Memory hole. I don't like that. That sounds like a that almost sounds like a blue collar. That almost sounds like a really, really blue collar Brooklyn way of describing how the brain works. I don't know. It fell down my memory hole. I don't know what happened in 1925. It fell right down the memory hole. Gone. I don't know. All right. Winston Smith. He secretly opposes the party's rule and dreams of rebellion, despite knowing that he is already a thought criminal and likely to be caught one day. I got to be honest with you. I dream of somebody else doing the rebelling. I really want someone else to rebel. I'll help out, with spreadsheets and stuff, but I want them to rebel. And I will cheer from a safe, respectable distance. That's what I would like. While in the proletariat neighborhood, he meets Mr. Charrington, the owner of an antiques shop, and buys a diary. Does the diary have a cute animal on the front of it? That's what I want to know. Maybe I'll have to read the book to find out what kind of diary it is, if it has a cute animal, or if it's one of those Barnes & Noble diaries that has these affirmations on every page that make me feel even more depressed about myself. Is it one of those diaries? Why would why would Big Brother even allow an antique store in the first place? It seems like a recipe for disaster. This Big Brother, they're not all there. Not all there. Okay. So he uses an alcove to hide it from the telescreen in his room, and writes thoughts criticizing the party and Big Brother, and also writes that if there is hope, it lies in the proles. I realized something when I read this sentence. In every dystopian novel or movie, people hiding things from the government always have an alcove. And it always gets discovered. Alcoves never work. That's the lesson I've learned from this and all dystopian future books. Alcoves never work. I have a secret spot. Oh, it's not going to be secret forever. It's not going to work. It never works. To his dismay, however, an old man he meets has no significant memory before the revolution. I'm going to go ahead and say that things were just as bad then as they are now. That's my theory, which is my ultimate theory. Because I'll talk with my mom a lot about how things are getting worse, and she's saying, oh, things are getting worse, things are getting worse. Our society is crumbling. And I'm like, but it's always been worse. Has it ever been good? It's never been good. What are you saying? It was better in the Middle Ages? You saying it was better in the 50s? When there was, and there still is rampant racism, but, you know, it's never been better. I think there might have been a moment when the first water creature walked on land for a brief second where things were okay. Ah, this is nice. This is a nice walk. And then the second creature to walk on land declared war on and it was over. Declared war on the first creature, ate the first creature, and conflict already. It's been a disaster ever since. All right. As Winston works in the Ministry of Truth, he meets Julia. Oh, Julia. A young woman maintaining the novel-writing machines at the ministry, whom Winston suspects of being a spy against him. Now, I want to talk about novel-writing machines. Machines that write novels. I love this. How does this work? Hey, Jim, the Jane Austen machine's busted again. Yeah, these novels have no charming yet complicated male characters who turn out to be good men in the end. No, these guys are all just pricks. Yeah, we gotta take it back to the shop. Always the Jane Austen machine breaking down. Always the Jane Austen machine. Hey, guys. Hey, we got a problem. Yeah, the Arthur Conan Doyle machine broke down. Yeah, Sherlock Holmes just gives up. Has no idea. It's just too hard for him that day. Yeah, we gotta take the machine back. It's not working. Winston also suspects that his superior, an inter-party official named O'Brien, is a secret agent for an enigmatic underground resistance movement known as the Brotherhood, a group formed by Big Brother's reviled political rival, Emmanuel Goldstein. So, just so I can get this straight, is this a Jewish resistance fighter? Is that what this is? That's awesome. And that led me to thinking that if there were Jews in the Star Wars universe, I think, and Jews in the Resistance in the most recent movies, I think that would have helped. I think the movie would have been better. Just to imagine my Jewish grandparents with the rest of the Resistance. Evelyn, Palpatine is back. Who's back? Palpatine. Who? Palpatine. I thought he was dead. Now he's back. Are you sure? I'm pretty sure he was dead. No, he's back. How does he look? He hasn't aged well. Hasn't aged well. I'm not surprised. He never looked good. All right, Winston also has a lunch conversation with a coworker named Syme, who is writing a dictionary for a revised version of the English language called Newspeak. I'm wondering what lunch is like in a totalitarian state. Can they be as playful with the menus as they are here? I'm wondering if, what's one menu item? The Everything is Wonderful frittata. Yeah, I'm going to get the Everything is Wonderful frittata with a side of Don't Question Authority pancakes, please. Thank you. After Syme admits that the true purpose of Newspeak is to reduce the capacity of human thought, Winston speculates that Syme will disappear as he is too intelligent and therefore dangerous to the party. Can I just say to the Big Brother government, we can reduce the capacity of thought on our own. We don't need your help for that. We're doing it already. we are totally doing it already. Have you seen TikTok? I think reducing the capacity of human thought is happening. It's a natural evolution. You know what? I'm going to instantly retract that. I am ashamed of myself for making fun of TikTok. That is me being old, making fun of young people, and that's ridiculous. TikTok, no, forget TikTok. I need to be mad at I need to be mad at older people. They're the ones who are reducing the capacity of human thought. They're the ones in power right now, the 70-year-olds. So the people with TikTok are not the people screwing everything up. Why did I just say that? I apologize to everyone who's on TikTok. This podcast is going to double as an apology for what I said to people with TikTok. Why did I say that? One day, Julia secretly hands Winston a note confessing her love for him, and the two begin a torrid affair, an act of rebellion as the party insists that sex may only be used for reproduction. So, I have a theory about this, by the way. Here's my theory. I've noticed that sci-fi writers, this is the second sci-fi writer I've noticed this. Sci-fi writers, I think, like to write situations where the road to seduction is much easier than in real life. And maybe Orwell was a great ladies' man. I didn't look him up. I probably should do that. I don't know, but this just feels to me like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if a woman could just an attractive woman who feels the same way I do about things could just profess her love to me in a letter. Oh, God. I would give anything for that. I also love the fact that he's attracted to her because she has no hope. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm skipping ahead. Okay. Winston realizes that she shares his loathing of the party, but later shows that she is not interested in overthrowing the regime, thinking that it is impossible. And this is why now I find her attractive. The fatalism, the fact that there is no hope. Now I'm attracted to this woman. I want to have a torrid affair with her. That's the kind of Tinder profile I want. I look at her picture and underneath it says, "It's over! It's over! We're doomed!" I'm like, yes, swipe to the right. All right, they first meet in the country and later in a rented room above Mr. Charrington's shop. And it's interesting to me that sex in this book, in a way, represents freedom. Which goes to show that in real life, like Big Brother would love me as a member of its society, because I can oppress myself. I've been oppressing myself. I haven't been having sex. Man, Big Brother's like, we're not even going to check up on you. I feel like Big Brother would check in on me every day, and after a while, Big Brother wouldn't be worried about, am I going to overthrow the government? Big Brother's like, okay, seriously, are you all right? You're making us depressed. Like, we only care about power, but still, geez, maybe, cheat a little bit. During his affair with Julia, Winston remembers the disappearance of his family during the Civil War of the 1950s and his terse relationship with his wife, Catherine, from whom he is separated. Divorce is not permitted by the party. Again, what a lovely affair. It's an affair that is mixed with depression. They have sex. He regrets his life. They have sex. He regrets his life. This is going to become my sexual fantasy. He also notices the disappearance of Syme during one of his working days. That's very casual. Oh, I think Syme's disappeared. Well, and a red flag. This is a red flag. Not a lot of fleeing going on in this story. There are points at this story where I would say, oh, now's the time to flee. We need to run now. This is a red flag. Oh, time to flee. Weeks later, Winston is approached by O'Brien, who invites Winston over to his flat, which is noted as being of far higher quality than Winston's. It has a Dan Brown novel writing machine. Hey, callback! O'Brien introduces himself as a member of the Brotherhood and sends Winston a copy of The Theory and Practice of Oligarchical Collectivism by Emmanuel Goldstein. At which point, Winston says, can I just read the Wikipedia summary of this? I can't read this whole thing. I know it's important. listen, I hate the government, but can we? This is huge. I mean, I'm getting. My arm is hurting just trying to hold this thing. Meanwhile, during the nation's hate week, shouldn't it be called love week? If it's everything else is opposite. During the nation's hate week, Oceania's enemy suddenly changes from Eurasia to East Asia, under the pretense that enemies of the state had sabotaged Oceania's news reports. See, I hate it when that happens. You thought it was one, then it was other. They're going to have to reprint all the shirts now. It's, oh my God, think of all the late night jokes. Winston and Julia read parts of the book, which explains more about how the party maintains power, the true meanings of its slogans, and the concept of perpetual war. Oh, so they're reading the history of the United States. Hey! It argues that the party can be overthrown if the proletariat rise up against it. Is that true? When I look around at the people around me right now, the proletariat, if we rose up and we destroyed the current government, would we do any better? I'm not making fun of younger people or older people. I'm making fun of all of us. Who would really do a good job running the government? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because generationally, all generations are idiots, or have enough idiots in them. Who would be the right group or the right people to run a government? I'm trying to think. Who would it be? I just had my hair cut today. Maybe hairstylists. Maybe we should give it to the hairstylists. Because everyone I've ever had has told me their life story and has been a philosopher. Maybe the hairstylists should inherit the earth. I like that. They're usually very, great to listen to because they're used to talking all the time. They'll make great speeches. They have a lot of common sense. Yes, I could be onto something here. All right. However, to Winston, the book does not answer why the party maintains power. And again, at this point, I would have fled already. But he's still, nope, I don't want to flee. I want to keep reading this book, keep flirting with Big Brother. Soon, Mr. Charrington is revealed to be an agent of the Thought Police, and Winston and Julia are captured and imprisoned in the Ministry of Love. Which, again, great name for an evil ministry. You don't want to know what goes on in the Ministry of Foreplay. Ouch, kids! Winston briefly meets his other colleagues who have been arrested for other charges. So here is my $64,000 question. When they're all in the room, and they know they're about to be tortured and imprisoned and murdered, do they still ask each other, so how you doing? I bet they do, because that's so ingrained in us. So how you doing? How's the wife? How are things? We need to stop asking each other how we're doing. We know how we're doing. Horrible. That's how we're doing. All right, O'Brien arrives, revealing that he is actually a Thought Police agent as well, and was simply part of a special sting operation to catch thought criminals. So, here's what Winston, as a protagonist, does not sound like the swiftest thought criminal around. After all, he has an alcove. So, did they really need to go through all this, sting operation? I think if they already knew this, and it's revealed later that they suspected him for a long time. They seem to be the Thought Police is going to a lot of trouble, too much trouble here. I think this could be streamlined. There needs to be an efficiency expert that comes in and goes, listen, just kill him. You could have killed him months ago. Over many months, Winston is tortured and forced to cure himself of his insanity by changing his own perception to fit in line with the party. How is he tortured? Maybe he's tortured. They keep introducing him to different TV shows that he wants to watch, but he has to buy a different app to watch every TV show, and the aggravation is just unbelievable. O'Brien tells Winston that the party is not interested in the good of others. It is interested solely in power. So, great. So that's, I see they modeled it after a pharmaceutical company. Oh! Power to the people! Here's what I don't get about power. Is power really that great? That's my question. Is power really that great? Well, these people who have absolute power. I mean, at the end of the day, are they that happy? What are they doing? When they have achieved absolute power, I feel like all they do is they eat fancy dinners all the time. I feel like that's it. We have achieved absolute power. No one can stop us. Because, yeah, what did the Emperor, in Star Wars, for instance, what did the Emperor do in between, Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope in those 20 years where, he had the power? What did he do? Other than look out a window with Darth Vader at the construction of the Death Star. How did he fill his days when he had absolute power? Well, apparently he had a kid, so that happened. Maybe he spent those 20 years raising the kid. What was that like? A lot of going to the opera. A lot of that going on. And the scarred face. I don't know. I just have a feeling he just ate, he didn't diet. That's my theory. I mean, if he can stop death, he just was always eating things he shouldn't eat. And his guards were like, "That all you're gonna have is ice cream again?" He's like, "Yeah, I can stop death. I can eat whatever I want." But doesn't it get old? Well, even if it gets old, it's still better than kale. I don't care if I haven't had kale in 10 years. Fresh kale is not gonna help. Leave me alone. I'm eating ice cream. Get out of here. Get your own. All right. O'Brien says that once Winston is brainwashed into loyalty, he will be released back into society for an unspecified period of time before they execute him. Again, this is a lot of work. I don't know why they want to go to all this trouble, and I don't think they're telling anyone else about this. This is just, I don't think this government has anything better to do. When he asks Winston if there is anything worse that can happen, Winston points out that the party has not managed to make him betray Julia, and that while he accepts the party's doctrines, he still hates Big Brother. So, great. So you're going to taunt Big Brother. You're going to say, nope, I still have my spirit. I think it would have been a lot easier to lie and say, no, you totally conquered me. And then they release you, and then, again, flee. Flee, flee, flee. O'Brien then takes Winston to room 101 for the final stage of re-education. Here is my other $64,000 question. Is it on the first floor, or is it one of those situations where when the building is built like into a hill and the entrance is actually the basement level and the first floor is more like the second floor? I bet that confuses people all the time. No, this is the basement, not the first floor. 101's up there. And I also feel like this government building, I feel like it's fake plants. They're not going to have real plants. No. Fake plants. We don't need to mess around with real plants. Okay, we're Big Brother. We don't have time to water real plants. Get the fake ones. And if anyone says that they look fake, you kill them. Or re-educate them, and they will see it as real. It's easier to re-educate people into thinking the fake plants are real plants than to go to the trouble of watering the plants, making sure they're getting enough sunlight. Forget it. We'll just re-educate people. All right. The room contains each prisoner's worst fear, which in Winston's case is rats. So, you mean to tell me that for every individual person they capture and torture, they have to create this elaborate room or put specific things in this elaborate room that speaks to the person's biggest fear? Do you know how much work it takes an army of people. What do you do for a living? I'm part of the torture team. Like this guy, I found out his fear was rats, so I had to go spend a week wrangling all these rats together. Boy, just wouldn't it be easier to kill them? You'd think it would be. But it's a living, listen, there's no shortage of work. We're way behind. I mean, there's guys I should have thrown rats in their faces months ago, and it's probably going to take until the spring before it clears up. The fact that the party knows that he's afraid of rats indicates the level of surveillance on the population is far more thorough than Winston previously believed. Are we sure about this? Because I feel like being thrown in a room full of rats would scare a lot of people. I think he thinks he's more precious than he is on this one. I don't know. Oh, this was my other thought there. And then as a wire cage holding hungry rats is fitted onto his face, Winston eventually betrays Julia. Rats before hose, huh? Hey, hey! Yeah, so who's the guy who had to wrangle the rats? That's what I want to know. I want to know the story about that guy. That's got to be a job. And were the rats trained? Well, they were just starved, I guess. That's mean. That's not fair to the rats. But this doesn't seem like the kind of government that would be big on animal safety. After being released, Winston meets Julia in a park. Now, I will say something about dystopian future dictatorships. As bad as they are, you got to admit the parks are probably fantastic. There's no trash. If they catch you throwing trash, they're going to throw rats in your face. It's probably a really nice park. I mean, again, I wouldn't want to live in this world, but there are perks. Julia says that she was also tortured, and both reveal betraying each other before parting ways. It probably wouldn't have worked out anyway. I mean, I hate to be negative, but I think that I think that they kind of like how in some relationships, it's the baby that keeps the family together, or a baby that keeps the couple together. I think in this case, it was the totalitarian government and the hatred of the government that kept them together. I think outside of that, she wouldn't have given him the time of day. That's my take. Later, Winston sits alone in a cafe as Oceana celebrates a supposed victory over Eurasian armies in Africa and realizes that now he loved Big Brother as well. So his own thoughts were rewritten. As he's sitting alone in a cafe. I wonder what kind of cafe. Again, what's on the menu? What is a totalitarian cafe? What is it like? Maybe they're re-educated into thinking the food is good. I don't know. Well, that's what an uplifting book. Don't I feel a million times better after having read that book, or rather, after having seen the Wikipedia, or after having seen the movie and read the Wikipedia summary? Don't I feel a million times better about my life? What an uplifting book. I think the scariest thing about this is that Mark Maron talked about this, and I want to give him credit for this. But this notion that we're doing it to ourselves, we're policing ourselves. The government doesn't have to do anything, which is way more ingenious on the part of the government. Yeah, assuming the government is even aware of what it's doing. But what's the take on this? What do I do with this? Maybe that's the question. What's the lesson from this? Well, aside from the fact that I'm not planning on hiding anything in an alcove, because that never works. That's number one. Number two, maybe one day when our society becomes oppressive enough, then finally, a woman will come along who seduces me. So it can't all be bad. The parks will be nice. I don't know. Geez, listen, I'm trying to look on the bright side here. I'm trying to have a positive attitude about this. I would imagine that what Orwell is trying to convey here is I'm going to paint a bleak picture of what I foresee in the hopes that all those who read it will take action to prevent this from happening in our own personal future. So now I'm trying to think, what can I do to stop, for instance, the spread of fake history? And what can I do to stop the rewriting of history? Now there's a fantastic question. What can I do? The Holocaust happened. I'll just say that. How about that? Maybe one other voice saying, yes, the Holocaust happened. The people who deny the Holocaust happened. That I don't get. Yes, it happened. It happened. It happened. I don't think that would have been faked. I think that would be pretty hard to fake that. I don't think. I grew up amongst Jews. I am Jewish. You know what? You know how I know it's true. Jews, we hold a grudge. We are gonna hold on to that for a long, long time. We're not gonna be throwing that away. That's no. You might be able to rewrite the history books, but you cannot rewrite a grudge. You cannot rewrite a Jewish grudge that will be etched in our DNA for thousands and thousands of generations. You could take a Jew, put him in the middle of the wilderness, no contact with human beings, raised by wolves. They will come out of that situation going, I don't need to see Schindler's List to know that happened. All right? And I am pissed. So, there we go. Let's make sure we... And the other thing, too, by the way, while we're on the subject of remembering history, can we all remember why the crash happened in 2008? Wasn't it deregulation? And yet I hear that they're deregulating again? Why is nobody talking about that? Wasn't that what happened? Deregulation, and now they're deregulating again? Too big to fail, remember? It was too big to fail. Now everything's getting too big to fail again. How are we... This is ranting. This is turning... How are we forgetting this? Oh, we're not forgetting. We're just choosing not to care. Oh, all right, well, very good. That's good. What other things? Okay, this is more of a personal thing. I just have to remember that I'm not a fan of KFC. Because what I do is I go to KFC once every 5 years. I go, I have a craving for KFC. I go, I don't like it. It's too salty. And I remember, this is why I didn't go here for 5 years. So maybe this is just a reminder to myself. Listen, KFC is not for me. A lot of people love KFC. Good for you. KFC, not for me. Just remember that. Don't rewrite history on that one. And final thought, in case Big Brother is listening, like I said, if you're going to start rewriting history, middle school and high school, go for it. I'm open to suggestions. You do what you got to do. I'm totally there. I support you 100%. All right, well, that's another episode of the Sci-Fi Podcast. We just talked 1984. I'd like to say that things are going to work out and be okay, but not from the literature I've been reading lately. So hopefully you'll have an okay week.